Understanding UTI or Ullage temperature interface on tankers. Tanker ships carry huge volumes of liquid cargo across continents. But do you know how meticulous it is to get the correct measurement of the cargo volume loaded? On tankers, every centimeter counts, and it can cost a lot. A single centimeter difference in measurement can result in hundreds of thousands of dollars in discrepancy. For example, a tank measuring 12 meters in length and 5 meters in width with a sounding of 11.00 meters will create a difference of 1.5 cubic meters, 1,500 liters, or about US $1,260 if the sounding changes slightly to 11.025 meters. If you have 12 tanks, that's already around US $15,120. This is just on small vessels. Imagine the scale on much larger ships like LR tankers or VLCCs. To minimize these errors and agree on measurements with cargo surveyors, seafarers use UTI or Ullage temperature and interface to determine cargo quantities inside each tank. Ullage is the empty space from the liquid surface to a fixed reference point, usually the tank's top datum. It tells you how much cargo is in the tank by indicating how much space remains unfilled. Temperature affects the cargo's density and volume. Measuring it allows officers to correct the observed volume to a standard temperature, usually 15 degrees Celsius, using the vessel's calibration tables. Interface refers to the boundary between two different liquid layers, typically the oil and the water at the tank's bottom. Detecting this helps determine the amount of free or bottom water present, which is critical for cargo quality and quantity reporting. Device used to measure UTI. To measure Ullage, temperature, and interface, a portable device called a UTI meter or gauge is used. This equipment has a probe with sensors attached to a graduated tape, which is lowered into the tank. The UTI meter emits beeping sounds when detecting oil or water, while the temperature is displayed digitally. Yes, there are tank radars installed, but they may fail or create huge discrepancies, so double-checking with the UTI meter is a must. How to properly measure Ullage, temperature, and interface. Using the UTI gauge requires skill, but with a bit of practice, it's easy to master. 1. Attach the UTI gauge to a designated vapor lock. 2. Connect the grounding cable to prevent static discharge before switching on the device. 3. Even though the UTI is gas-tight, stand perpendicular to the wind direction since some vapors may escape. When air or vapor is detected, you'll hear a short series of beeps every 5 seconds, like this. This is in standby mode. Once the probe touches the oil, the meter emits intermittent beeps, like this sound. Heave it up slightly until the sound stops. Then lower it gently to get the correct Ullage reading on the tape. For temperature, simply read the value shown on the digital display. To find the interface, lower the probe all the way to the tank bottom. You'll hear continuous beeping, which can be noisy since it is detecting oil, but you can mute it with a button. The sound will reactivate when the probe detects water or air. When water is detected, the meter gives 3 short beeps followed by a pause. Move the probe up and down slowly to pinpoint the exact level where the interface signal triggers. After all readings are recorded, reel the gauge back in and repeat the process for the remaining tanks. A word of advice: be careful not to close the vapor lock prematurely, or you might cut the tape. These tapes are expensive, and if they fall inside, they could damage the pump impeller, creating a serious hazard.